youtube.com/MugenLord. Subscribe to the channel for gaming news, updates, discussion, and live streams. Signing off.
So let us step away from fighting games for a little bit because I finally finished Kingdom Hearts 3 and I decided that it would be nice for all of us to have a discussion about the game. But after avoiding all the spoilers on the internet related to Kingdom Hearts 3 and pretty much spending about a day or two reflecting on my experience with this third game of the series, I think it's about time for me to express how I feel about this game. Now, I just want to let you know, this is coming from a person who started the franchise with the second entry of the series. I completely avoided the handheld games like the plague because I just don't enjoy portable gaming much. But from what I've gathered from the story by watching my brothers Keel Lancer and DX Strike playing through the games, and plus watching extensive videos on YouTube about Kingdom Hearts lore, I said to myself, yo, I'm ready, let's get into Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I wouldn't say that I'm a big fan of the Kingdom Hearts series, but I do like the series, so there pretty much won't be any fanboy bias coming from me concerning this game. So, how do I feel about this game? Well, the short answer is, meh. It's not a great game, but it's definitely not a bad game. This series has generated so much build-up in its story and investment from dedicated fans, only for its conclusion of Xehanort Saga to fall flat on its face. There's so much that could have been explored when it comes to its gameplay, stories, and characters. That's pretty much left so much to desire. This is another example of a game that had the elements of a great masterpiece, but instead it falls into a category of a game with wasted potential. But before I delve into my disappointments with this game, let's talk about some of the positive of what I found that this game has done right in my opinion. One thing I could say that this game has nailed was its visuals. This game is simply beautiful, some of the best graphics you can find on a console. The characters are colorful and full of detail. Each Disney World reflects their movie counterpart, and I would say in some regards they look better than their original character incarnations. Tetsuya Nomura and his team has done a good job portraying the Disney characters with proper respect, and it really helps immerse you into the world in which they came from. Now, my favorite world in terms of visuals is the Pirates of the Caribbean level. My brother DX Strike jokingly said it looked like most of the game's budget was put into designing the Pirates of the Caribbean world and its characters. I love how the developers were able to properly mesh together the more cartoony looking characters such as Donald, Goofy, and Sora, along with Captain Jack Sparrow and the other Pirates cast. The attention to detail to Donald's fur and the stitching on Sora's outfit is very impressive. Now, I definitely want to say that what I mean by that is I like how they were able to pretty much insert Sora, Donald, and Goofy into each of the Disney worlds without breaking the immersion of the Disney lore. There were pretty much moments in the game where I actually felt a connection with the interactions between the characters within the Disney worlds. One perfect example, there's a moment in the game where you visit the world of Tangle. You eventually run into Rapunzel and Flynn, who needs your help escorting her to the Kingdom of Thoroughfare. Now, while you're traveling in there, Sora observes as Rapunzel cherishes her time being able to experience what it's like being outside, since almost all her life she was pretty much locked away in a tower as a little girl and never had the experience to see what it's like to be outside. So what I like about the fact is that the game had you pretty much interact with Rapunzel as she zips around in the forest like an innocent child. The player is able to pretty much be a bit playful with her. There's one scene where you actually chase her around and splash water on each other, and I thought that was pretty cool. And there was another time where you had to collect birds for her, and I was able to experience that moment with the character. Because of this, it definitely made me want to find time to watch the Tangle movie because I've never seen it before. The characters found in this world had become one of my favorites among the Disney worlds. And then you have, of course, Monster Inc. Now, this is another place I really enjoy visiting. Seeing these characters return brings back memories of where I was at some point in my life during the release of the Monster Inc. movie. In a way that this world's story is kind of like a sequel to the movie, because in Monster Inc., at the end, they pretty much discovered a way to gather energy by making children laugh instead of scaring them. So now they're in the laughter business. So in this world, it pretty much takes place after that, because Randall returns after his door was destroyed in the first movie, and I like how they were able to tie in Organization 13 into the story as a way to bring Randall back into the mix. This is what they've done well. The developers were able to take each of the Disney characters out of their natural environment and allow them to act in a way that is a bit mature. Near the final conflict, where you see Donald and Goofy become complete badasses, something you won't normally see from Disney. Watching the two of them making sacrifices and throwing down their lives is something that makes these incarnations of the characters much more interesting. It's funny looking at Woody and Buzz Lightyear interacting with Organization 13 and the Heartless, but for some reason it just works, especially when Sully snuck up on Vanitas and pretty much manhandled him, and there was nothing that he can do about it. Moments like this is where the game shines for me, and I wish there were more moments that can be found in this game, but sadly, that's pretty much about it for me. Well, that's all about the positives for the game. Now, I want to really get into the negatives of the game. Okay, so first I want to get into the game's gameplay mechanics and environments. So this is where my concern for the game really speaks out a whole lot. I can't really put my finger on it, but I feel as though that Kingdom Hearts 2 was a much superior game compared to Kingdom Hearts 3 in terms of its gameplay. Now, Kingdom Hearts 3 felt like pretty much like a mindless button masher to me. Now, I know some of you are going to say that, well, Kingdom Hearts by default is a button masher when it comes to its combat. But in a way that is true, but the past titles for some reason really test your execution at critical moments during combat. You were pretty much rewarded for successfully blocking and countering enemy bosses, and the bosses you encounter had challenging patterns that you had to master in order to come out victorious in each battle in the past titles. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, I found myself mindlessly mashing away at the X button without any thought, and still found myself sweeping through all the enemies and boss encounters. I hardly died in this game, and the only reason why I died in most cases was due to errors on my end by not paying attention to what I was asked during a boss fight, or me having a side conversation with my brothers in the same room and more focused on the conversation than playing the game itself. Now, even though there were some good ideas found in the combat system, it just wasn't executed well in this game. For example, instead of having different forms to switch to in Kingdom Hearts 2, each Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts 3 has a transformation tied to them. So once the meter reaches to its max, you can press the triangle button to transform your Keyblade and your appearance. But the main issue with this is everything is mapped and tied to the triangle button. Your triggers is mapped to the triangle button. Your special Keyblade abilities is mapped to the triangle button. Your team attacks are mapped to the triangle button. And even the Disney attractions are mapped to the triangle button. Not only that, opening treasure boxes are mapped to the triangle buttons. So there were moments in the game where I was trying to open the chest and I mistakenly activated my special abilities instead. And let's talk about the Disney attractions in this game. Nowhere in the story had they explained how Sora had somehow gained these new abilities to summon Disney rides. I can say that this ability pretty much breaks the game for me. The story tries to convince you that Sora is somehow gotten weaker and he has to unlock the power of awakening, but not once have I ever felt as a player weak. I felt completely unstoppable in this game. It felt like the Disney attractions popped up every 5 seconds. My Keyblade transformations were always ready on deck to be spammed. I felt like at times when I was in danger, I just pressed Hercules' ability and summoned Pegasus to get out of the situation. Heartless Sora, for some reason, appeared much frequently than I had pretty much hoped for. Like, especially during the last few bosses at the end of the game. The moment I hit low health, Heartless Sora appears and all my health is restored. Heartless Sora literally appeared 3 times in a row. There was no way I was losing that battle. Now, I know you can toggle through your abilities by pressing L2, but it was a pain in the ass to do during intense combat. Now, let's not talk about the gummy ship. Now, with the gummy ships, I never liked this feature in any of the Kingdom Hearts games. In my opinion, this felt like a way to pad out the game's runtime. In Kingdom Hearts 3, they decided to make the gummy ship more expansive and open. I felt no need to level up or customize my gummy ship. Once I discovered that you could literally fly above some of the boss encounters in the gummy ship mode, it pretty much became an irrelevant feature in this game. And what about Lynx in this game? At no point in this game I have ever summoned any of the Disney characters such as Wreck-It Ralph, Simba, or Ariel from The Little Mermaid. The game was already easy as it was, and I didn't think using the links would change my opinion of the game. Okay, so what about the environments? Well, to be honest, I was really fooled by the trailers during E3 and other events that showed off the game, because the environments are really beautiful and they're bigger than the last Kingdom Hearts games, but the issue is that there's really not much to do in these big worlds. Most of them don't even have branching paths that leads you to anywhere meaningful. The levels are very linear, and I kept fooling myself constantly to explore just to find out that there's meaningless items or a dead end that pretty much leads to nowhere. Now, the game tried to really get clever by having you snap pictures of lucky emblems hidden throughout the worlds, but the rewards aren't anything special. But if you do collect them, all you're given is a secret ending, but the secret ending pretty much leaves you asking more questions. So it's not really worth wasting your time finding them. I decided to pretty much look up the secret ending after I ended the game. Now, then you had the Hercules world, in my opinion, the most boring of all the Disney worlds in this game. They pretty much had Thebes, and Thebes decided to add NPCs, which pretty much added no value to the game experience at all. Even though I love the characters in Tangle, its world was quite disappointing since the trailer showed off that there is a town in which you can explore, only to find out once you visit the town, there's really nothing much you can do in the town but play a mini game. Then the Toy Story world looks amazing, as if they pretty much ripped it from the movie itself. But my issue with most of these worlds, especially Toy Story, is that the outside world doesn't feel like you're outside. It feels like you're still in a room attached with limits and boundaries to them. The Toy Story world felt much like a chore with a lot of backtracking, and I couldn't wait for the world to end. Now, you have the Frozen world, which created pretty much artificial length with its padding. The game made you stop and fetch Olaf's body, which slowed down the progress of the world's plot. Then I pretty much had to sit through the reenactment of Let It Go theme song, which I will admit was beautifully made, but I didn't want to sit through that once again. And then Monster Inc., which I really had kind of fun with when I was playing through this world, but I found these unnecessary mechanics placed in this world, such as the cover mechanic found in the conveyor belt segment. You could literally just run past lasers without needing to take cover. And the most disappointing world to me had been San Fran, Tokyo. This was the opportunity to go nuts, and it's pretty much the first and only superhero world found in a Kingdom Hearts game. The city was pretty much barren and nothing to explore or do in it at all. This world was pretty much littered with a minigame and a time trial where you have to save each and every last Big Hero 6 member. Then finally, the Pirates of the Caribbean world. Even though it looks visually stunning, the world's gameplay mechanics just didn't work for me. You were given a ship for you to set sail and explore, and the world pretty much felt empty. There was really nothing to really do. Not only that, the ship's combat is some of the worst gameplay to be found out of all the Disney worlds. If you've been a viewer of my channel for some time now, then you would know I have a water phobia. I hate swimming and I hate underwater levels in video games. It really freaks me out, but hey, there's a time where you have to be a man and just man up and just deal with it. This world introduced underwater segments that felt empty and downright meaningless. And then on top of that, you have to collect white crabs throughout the town, which was another filler minigame to pad out the game's length, followed by a terrible boss fight with the Kraken. Overall, the Disney worlds didn't have much to them, and once you completed each world, there was no reason to go back and revisit them like the past Kingdom Hearts games. So what about the story? This game was built on so much anticipation from fans for over a decade. The fans have put countless of hours into a Kingdom Hearts title and invested their time into one of the most confusing video game lore I've ever seen as a gamer. Similar to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, fans are anticipating a payoff from all the time spent knowing the characters and the world that the developers and the writers has established. In my opinion, I believe the payoff in Kingdom Hearts 3 was quite disappointing. Now, to clarify things, the game's story was not well paced at all. Sora was told that he has been weakened and isn't ready to go into the world of darkness to save Aqua or even face Xehanort himself. He must find the power of awakening and he must follow his heart to find the answers. This was nothing more than a plot device for Sora to travel to different Disney worlds. None of these worlds served any purpose to the main plot. Each world you enter is accompanied by a member of Organization 13, and when you encounter them, they begin to spew out more plot points that tries to sound deeper than what it's supposed to be. Sora himself even acknowledges this.
Hey, this is the part where you spout some mumbo jumbo and disappear, right?
Then you have Maleficent and Pete, who only appeared about 2 or 3 times in search of this black box, and that was it. They added nothing to the plot. They were nothing more than observers of the story, just like the player. I will definitely really get into the black box thing later in the video or on a separate video of its own, but Sora travels to these different worlds to find the power of awakening, only to find out that it's asleep within him. So you pretty much wasted your time traveling to these Disney worlds looking for something that was with you since the beginning of the game. And too many plot conveniences in this game as well. Sora at one point was lost and had no sense of direction, and he simply points the Keyblade and follows his heart, and it opened up a warp gate. Now reminds you, he tells Donald and Goofy that he has no idea where it's going to lead him, but it somehow conveniently leads him to Destiny Island, a place that the story needs to be in the first place. Now correct me if I'm wrong, can someone please explain this to me? what the hell is going on with the whole Terra scene, because there was a scene where Terra's knight armor shows up and defends Sora and his party. Then later on, when you encounter Terranort, which I call and the community calls, again when helping Ventus and Aqua, Terra somehow become a Heartless, or he was somehow this Heartless the whole time, and he gains control over his original body once again. I was completely lost, even after watching the entire Birth by Sleep storyline on YouTube. Now, I won't go into much detail about the story, but if you want to hear my whole thoughts on this story in a separate video, let me know in the comment section below. But to continue, the game has cranked up the plot dial up to 10. Because after you complete the Disney Worlds, the actual Kingdom Hearts 3 story begins, and there's a lot to digest. The end of the game is nothing more than a boss rush mode with story elements sprinkled in between them, and that's not what I want from a story being delivered to me in a video game. Now, everything that happens in the last segment of the game didn't really feel earned to me. Like everything, it just didn't feel earned at all. And Kairi's death meant nothing to me because the entire time Kairi was off screen and we were told she was training with Axel. Instead of telling us about this, the game should have been pretty much showing us. And besides that, Sora spent the whole time throughout Kingdom Hearts series looking for his woman, looking for Kairi, only for her to finally be in the same place as him in Kingdom Hearts 3, and no real screen time was shared with the two of them at all. And it really boggles my mind because the whole series is built on that foundation. He was looking for Kairi. He finally gets Kairi. Kairi's off training, and the times that they are together in the same room, they don't really share any time together. Now, let's talk about the game's main antagonist, Xehanort. Now, I really hated this guy. He is pretty much Satan incarnated. This man is filled with so much hate and darkness. He is a deceiver and a manipulator among men. A great character, in my opinion, is a character who you can love or hate with passion, as if you know the character on a personal level. Xehanort was that guy. I hated him especially for the pain and manipulation he caused to Ventus, Aqua, and Terra. Kingdom Hearts 3 was it. This was my chance to finally take this guy down once and for all. There was no turning back for Xehanort. He was a man beyond repair, no redemption for his character, and then suddenly the end happens, and I was disappointed. So let me get this straight. After defeating Xehanort during the final battle, out of nowhere, Master Arrakis descends from the sky and places his hand on his shoulder and says, "Enough." And Xehanort suddenly smiles and gives in. His character is redeemed and he fades from existence with a smile. Like, are you serious? This man plot and scheme throughout the entire Kingdom Hearts series, only for him to pretty much repent at the end and everything is all good? No way. I wanted this man dead. The story is pretty much a video game spiritual. Master Arrakis is Jesus, Xehanort is Satan, and the Keyblade wielders are the disciples. Xehanort pretty much unleashed Armageddon, and the disciples had to get together to stop him. And in the end, Jesus descends from the heaven and asks Satan to repent, and bam, that's it. The world is saved. So I just don't get it. But as I said, I won't get into the story any farther, but I will say that this was pretty much a total letdown to me, and I still felt like I was left asking more questions than actually having them answered. I still don't know what Kingdom Hearts actually is. So this is pretty much why I believe that this game has so much wasted potential. 1. Kairi and Axel should have been playable characters in this game. In fact, the game should have been broken into chapters. In each chapter, the game switches over to Riku and both Kairi and Axel together. No time was spent developing the two of them, and we're supposed to believe that they were able to hold their own, mainly Kairi, against Organization 13. And 2, Final Fantasy characters should have been in this game and helped with Sora and the party during the final Keyblade War. And 3, each Disney character world should have been much more open and given more things to do, and actually have the NPCs give you quests that lead up to something worthwhile. And 4, the main plot should have been incorporated throughout the Disney worlds to balance the pacing. The main focus should have been the black box. This would have been a good excuse to give the Disney worlds much more meaning to their presence in this game. And that's pretty much my opinion of Kingdom Hearts and how I really felt about it. I believe that it was some really good ideas that was incorporated in this game, but it really wasn't fully fleshed out. And the thing was, like, fans waited 13 years for this game. And to be honest, the game only took 6 years of development because I believe they announced the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 in 2013. And since then, Tetsuya Nomura and his team has been working on the game. But we waited this long only for this conclusion to pretty much end in a way, to me, that's unfulfilling. And it pretty much left us with more questions than answers. And like I said before, I still don't even know what Kingdom Hearts is. And now we have to wait until the next sequel, because if you check out the ending, which I may do a video on its own, depending if you guys really like this video and want to hear my opinions on it, we given a teaser of the secret ending, and it's pretty much opening up to look much more interesting. I'm not sure if it's going to be a spinoff, or I'm not sure if it's actually going to be Kingdom Hearts 4, but it does leave us with more questions. And they say this is supposed to be the conclusion of the Xehanort saga, which it is, but it didn't conclude very well to me. It wasn't executed very well, and the lack of Final Fantasy presence is a real letdown. And I don't know why they just left Final Fantasy out. It just doesn't make sense. I think the whole point of Kingdom Hearts and the whole point of Squaresoft and Disney getting together, or Square Enix and Disney getting together, was to bring together both Disney and Final Fantasy characters together. And the thing is, I love Disney, but I'm not a super Disney fan. I'm more so a Final Fantasy fan. The reason why I got into the series to begin with, because I was curious to see how Final Fantasy characters mesh together with Disney characters, and they completely left Final Fantasy characters out, and it boggles my mind why they just completely done away with it. But that's pretty much my conclusion. I definitely want to hear your thoughts. Were you happy with Kingdom Hearts 3? Was it satisfying? Did you enjoy the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3? I definitely want to hear your thoughts. And are you ready for Kingdom Hearts 4? Are you looking forward to whatever DLC they may have in store for us with Kingdom Hearts 3? I definitely want to hear that in the comment section below. Let's have a discussion about it. Definitely critique my opinions on it. I definitely want to hear your thoughts. Am I wrong in some cases, or do you think I really need to go back and revisit certain elements to really get everything together and really think how to process the story and everything, and maybe I may see this game in a different light. So, but till then, make sure you like the video. If you like the video, pass it around to everyone in your circle or among the community if you really like this video. And don't forget to hit the bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. And please leave in the comment section below if you want me to talk more about Kingdom Hearts 3 and this lore, or the secret ending, or the epilogue, in the comment section below. This is MugenLord signing off. See you Game Fiends later. Peace out. It looks like you reached the end of the video. Well, while you're at it, check out some of my other discussion videos by clicking on the annotations below, and don't forget to follow me on other social media platforms to stay up to date with future content. Signing off.